Welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, and transformational coaches being the change they seek in the world. If you'd like to be featured on our podcast to share what you're contributing to making the world a better place for us all, please go to www.jointheyouworldorder.com. Be sure to like and follow our podcast for the latest episodes. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast on Gnostic TV. We have with us today one of my very dear friends, Carmelle Riley from New Zealand, which is why she's sitting there with sleeveless shirt and I have on a sweater. Welcome to the show, Carmelle. So we were talking about oracle cards. Let's just jump back into the conversation. The listeners can catch up.
Yeah, they totally can. Well, firstly, thank you so much, Jill. I absolutely love every time we get together and make magic in the airwaves from Idaho down here to Waitakere and at the bottom of the world down under. So he mihi ki a koe, which means a big warm welcome and greeting to you, and he mihi ki a koutou katoa, which means everyone who's listening, I'm really happy that you will hear this and receive the vibrations that we send, because I think we're always very intentful about that, aren't we, Jill?
We are.
Mm-hmm.
Just want good vibes out there for everybody.
Yeah,
This is really the season for it. It's just like,
good vibrations.
yeah, I think that's a song that's running through the tune is running through my head. And now probably everybody else who's a boomer out there.
Well, it's so
It's an old
funny.
Beach Boys song.
It is, it is. And I was thinking of another one too, but I love the tohu. We call tohu as a sign, and like this is what I found yesterday. So I thought I had to bring my. I've got a collection of them, unicorns. This is my
Is
general
it
one.
because my spirit team is unicorns, Joan and the unicorns?
I don't know, but it's a really good story, and I thought I had to bring her. I think she is in, because she's not just a unicorn; she's actually a flying one. And
Don't they all fly? Am I
no,
am I like mistaken?
but she's actually in that position, like she's ready to
She's
launch
flying, yeah.
on it. And she was like, in from my house, there are some naughty people who get into rubbish bins. There's a church there just around the corner, and they have a special store, secondhand store. But these people, it's like tours. It's been really a lot, and then they just pull everything apart and throw it everywhere. So I picked up all the rubbish, and then I was like, but who could actually throw this away? Like, who could throw? And I could have
Right.
washed it. But who would throw away a unicorn like that?
They don't understand. There's magic in unicorns.
Anyway, so she's here with us, listeners.
Okay.
So
Thank
this
you
is a
for bringing
time
her.
to put your
Did you name
wish.
her?
I haven't. I haven't actually. I washed her, and I was like, not in the washing machine. I hand washed her, but no. I think, well, I don't know. I might call. I think she thinks she's Oracle. There's a big theme that has been there, and I feel as if this year we need to be more present with the voice within that is the Oracle, because we're always looking outside ourselves, and it is the Oracle within that we really can receive the most advice from. Yeah, I should put it. How about you? How are you
Oh, I see
feeling?
we're in a silly mood today. Sometimes you're really serious and we're like so intense, and other times it's just like we're just gonna be fun and light. Fun and light it is.
Well, I think I'm always like that, except when I get too busy. And that can happen, I feel, this week. Pretty much everyone I've spoken to has. It went from being relatively sort of kind of quite a chilled start to the year. Not like last year. Last year was like a hot wave
Mm.
came in. But this year was sort of peaceful, and then just a couple of days ago, it felt to me as if it all blew up again. And everyone I've spoken to has been the same. Like it's, you
I
know,
was talking
yeah,
with somebody else and they said that the energy because of the moon on Monday was really emotional and deep. But then yesterday I had
yeah,
this really kind of incredible experience that was it was it was very emotional and deep for me. I'm not going to share it on air, but I will tell you about it another time privately. I
mm, yeah.
was like,
Well, you know, the moon actually was in a very pivotal point called a lunar standstill, which is essentially when the moon comes back to exactly where it opposed the sun 18 years. So the moon does a very slow kind of circle around the earth, but so whatever was really going on 18 years ago uh, in the home, because Cancer is about the home and rootedness and your emotions, and Capricorn is how you outwork them, and how society is a mirror of all of our emotions and our tribalism and our those deep foundational structures. So yeah, it's never it's always a kind of a big energy, but when this comes back, it's like these themes get revisited. Whatever was going on for you 18 years ago at an emotional level was coming back for you to revisit.
just a boomerang hit me right upside the head when I wasn't looking.
Yeah. and and in a way, if you think about it, it's a tribal ancestral pattern that's been there
It
for a
was definitely
long
tribal, it was definitely a pattern, and it was definitely closure on something that
needed to be
was
closed.
very much
Mm.
front and center 18 years ago.
And
I
there's also
wow.
uh, um I always like to look for the goodness in it, because it's whenever there's an ending, there's also a beginning, and you got to focus on the new beginning, the new cycle, because especially in emotional, like it was my dear friend Shakina Hilma, who you're going to have on. She's such an incredible oracle, and she said to me in an interview, if your inner child don't like it, stop it. I was like, okay, that's pretty easy. If your heart hurts, move. Go to where your heart dances. Go to where the unicorn pops up in all the trash and you go, yeah, that's me. I'm going bouncing. I think I think that's what this moon, well, that's what it feels to me. It's about claiming your power and claiming what moves you. And if it's hard work, just say goodbye. Hide it out with grace.
Yeah,
Feeling it? Or is it still sinking in? I think it's sinking in. Yeah.
yeah. It in light of my last couple days, it just was like, yep,
Mm.
yep, check. That's exactly how it's manifesting for me too.
Yeah, I know. But and again, I think we sometimes forget that we're just, like we are just little bouncing orbs of reflective light. When you understand how this universe actually, I'm doing some research about for a new book I'm writing, and I went through all these creation stories and picked out 9 that I thought were the best because they inspired me. But pretty much all of them, we were at some point just dust and air and chemicals, elements that were just like floating around,
They're
and the
just
sun
energy.
belched
We don't
us.
even
No,
exist.
I know. We're just invisible energy, and everything, even the planet is formed from dust and gas, and chaos. From chaos came order, and so that though we're always shifting between those things, and yeah, I think the only thing you can do is have a brave heart. That, not to
Hang
let
on and
yourself
enjoy the ride.
uh,
It's just like
accept that it's going to shift and change, and some things are going to break down, and this is going to be a bit messy.
but there's
And
going to be
then,
new things that come up. You can't
yeah,
have new growth without death. You
mm,
bury those seeds in order to get plants. They don't
mm,
just like happen on top of the ground, and something has to
mm,
decompose in order to make the dirt for it to live
mm,
again. And
mm,
it blossoms and then it dies, and then it
mm,
out of that death comes new life.
mm.
There's all these fires burning in California. And
Yeah, I know.
what
It's
few
just
people don't
terrifying.
realize is that in California, the landscaping, a lot of it
Mm,
requires that a burn cycle happens in
mm.
order for the
For new life.
vegetation
Yeah,
to thrive and come back.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it- yes, it's very sad, and I feel bad for the
Mm,
people there. And my heart
mm,
breaks for anybody that's
mm,
suffering because of catastrophe. You're helping a group of people that were hit by a catastrophe not that long
mm.
ago.
Yeah,
The kids in Ghana,
the kids. Yeah, yeah.
they didn't do anything to warrant having that
Oh,
happen to
flood.
them, but
No. Mm.
it'll be interesting to see what comes out of all of these tragedies. And
Well, I mean, this is the story of everything in the universe. Like, our planet came from explosions of dead stars that created black holes, and then the sun belched us out, literally belched us into being. I just love to remember that.
at gas, and we are it.
Hey, actually, I got to share this because this is a funny story, and I won't mention his name, but he's quite a famous psychic. Anyway, some reason somebody hooked me up with him, and they thought we might get along. And in the interview, he was going, I was like, bro, are you tired? He goes, no, you're having a spiritual shift. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he goes, yes, you are. Whenever I yawn, it means you're having a shift. And I said, no, bro, you're just tired. And and then I thought, like, but it's quite a good excuse because every time you belch, fart, or yawn, you can go to the other person. You must be having a spiritual shift. Anyway, I thought he was just yawning because I was boring him. But yeah, there you go. There's an excuse for everything.
Yeah, and you can tell whatever story you want to tell because everybody's going to remember it differently. No two people experience the same thing, even though they're having the same experience. Or maybe they don't even have the same experience, so they're at the same point.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. I
Very
love
wild.
it. Mm.
I'm trying to keep track of the time. We only have 20 minutes. So what's your new book about?
It's about the stars. It's a so that was a huge shift for me last year. I actually lost three-quarters of my email list because people obviously don't resonate with the galactic message. Which, interestingly, I've met a couple of men galactic astrologers, and they both say that it's a message that doesn't appeal to most people. So I went from having quite a good, flourishing meditation list to literally having, I think I've got 150 left now, and three-quarters left, just shut the door, which I didn't take personally, except for a few of my friends who shut the door, and that I took a little bit personally. But what I realized from that was that this whole idea of starseeds, like a lot of people think, actually 300 million people say they're starseeds. There's been a
Who's to
billion
say they
hits.
aren't?
Well, exactly. So I think this is a divine alignment that it's my mission to help guide other starseeds. and but not in a way by telling people where they're from, because that's only part of the starseed journey. Understanding your origins, good time to talk about this with Cancer full moon. Understand your galactic origins is just part of the journey. Then you've got, the kind of claiming, and then you've got doing something with it, because you know there are the starseeds that feel that they're alone and they want to go home, and then there are the star seeds that say, okay, I'm going to claim the stardust. And then there are the star seeds that share it. So that I decided I would write that and give people, star seeds, the tools to actually manage this transformation. And when you actually, and because I've been thinking about this in an interpersonal way and as a spiritual way, I've had to do quite a lot of research, and even just looking at the types of stars. Like, stars are like people, like they're a mirror of us. And also the entire galaxy is filled with all they're not graves, but they're kind of like they
There's
are
ETs
graves.
out there. There's graves. Grays or
Graves.
grays?
Graves. All
Graves.
our
Okay.
ancestors, because all
Oh
well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a cultural thing. In our culture, everyone goes to the star. You spend a year floating around, and then you get captured. No, you choose to go back. But it is. I think that's the thing about the galaxy, is that I want people to understand it in a way that is not overwhelming, and that they can do something about it. So for me, it's not enough to say that I'm a Hini Tākaro Aotahi, Sirius and Canopus starseed. That's just the area I came through and down with, and some others. But it's not enough to say, okay, I'm Lyran, or I'm Arcturus, or I'm from Andromeda. It's not enough for me to say that. It's just part of the story. And the real story is just being able, as we were talking about, is to be the creative energy that creates order through chaos for oneself, primarily peace of mind, but also to expand that depth, and to do good with it, to be of service, to share the light, to be a star like the sun, to give light, and not fall down a black hole, because you will not believe how many black holes there are in the universe, and how we are so aligned with them in our personal lives. You were going through a black hole space. And so that's also part of this book that I'm writing. It's like, okay, this is how you learn to serve a black hole so it doesn't suck you down. And it's it's really
It's that
fun.
it's a real thing. I mean, everybody can look at it in a different way, but black holes exist, and you can get sucked into them, and I think there's a hole on the other end that you can come out of it, but it's like it's easy to get trapped in the middle. And
Black holes are amazing, Jill. They are so, and most of the universe is dark matter, dark energy. That's what I mean about the graves. I just kind of, describe it that way. But black holes are incredible because they can be in vortexes of, we just get gobbled, and we have a really big one that is uh, over in, for anyone who is late Virgo and Libra, they're the biggest, hungriest, Messiah or Messiah 87 is a huge gobbling black hole, and that shows up in patterns of codependency and independent and dependency. So it could be, and a lot to do with monogamous relationships, long-term relationships that are more about dependency, but also your dependency into work, to food, to alcohol, to substances, whatever. And you can see this, or you can see drug addiction. That is those people are hooked into that, the goblin part, the addiction to material objects. It's really huge. It's a just a gobbling energy until you learn to manage it. And so that I'm really keen to kind of explain that for people, and then how you spiritually deal with all of that uh, inherent complexity and swallowing that we all know about. And some people more than others. Some people, the closer you are in your personal astrology to those black holes. But there's not just there. There's many, and they're yeah. It's really fascinating to write about them, but also just to make it very simple. And that's a really difficult thing, I think, with dealing with any spiritual theme. You know, especially the galaxy. You got to
Yeah.
kind of like break it down to very simple things and fascinations, and so that's, I think that's a key theme that I am bringing through in this book, is just getting people to observe more of what's above them and how they can make sense of that and bring their purpose out, basically from the new moon period to the end of that black moon. And that's for us as a tribal practice called the maramataka. But it's like getting closer, being more present with the galaxy actually makes you more grounded with the environment, with your garden, with the food cycles. Astrology is a food cycle of 1 year's rotation of growing food around the sun. If you look at Aries, the first shoots, Pisces is like the last point of winter when everything's died. So ultimately, it's about this.
Promise of spring.
Yeah, but winter's beautiful as well. Like the
It's
crystal
very beautiful.
stillness and clarity, it's beautiful. I
I'm a
love that.
Pisces, and my
Right.
birthday, it's when, and I live in a cold climate in the winter during those months because
Mm,
of where I live. So around my birthday is when the irises and the crocus start coming
mm.
up through the snow. And it's always, and tulips. It's just like always so exciting to me. It's like
Yeah.
the universe gives me this birthday present every year, and it's flowers. I get flowers for my birthday.
And you are so incredibly lucky for that reason, because it's such. Do you know the star? Because, see, the part of the Maramataka for us, or this moon calendar, every season, and they go new moon to the black moon, and then you have to catch up on the third year by adding an extra. So it's an ancient kind of tribal. So we have a number of calendars, but that in that calendar, there's always a star that starts the beginning of that moon month. And that I'm bringing some of this into the book, because if you actually think about those, the period of your birthday season, and then look at the new moon, look at the star that's next to that new moon, because it's actually going to tell you how you can look into your birthday season. But it's also, if you'll go quiet enough and reflect on it, you'll get downloads that'll come from your star ancestors.
I
So
love this. I'm going to do
yeah, well,
this.
this is what this book is about. It's like taking the galaxy and making it a practice, because
You already told me about this. I don't think you told it to me in this way, but this is how I heard it. And this is my practice at night. I go and lay on the sun, which is going to sound
mm,
odd to people, but I, I want to look. I take my spirit body and I go and I lay down on the sun, and it doesn't burn or anything. It's just a nice warm enveloping embrace, and I look out
mm,
on the universe around
mm,
me
mm.
and just marvel at its beauty and magnificence. But
You
it's
do
become
you
my
do
nightly
that
practice.
in your meditation.
It's actually before I go to sleep.
Ah,
It's where I sleep now. I sleep on the sun.
I love that. Because the
It's
sun is our
because of you.
biggest star. The sun created us. So
Mhm.
when I started using the sun in my meditation, not I mean, I do use sunrise as well, but just going to the sun, and that's how you conquer those black holes and go through them. You use them as a doorway. That's one of the ways but you always go to the sun first, because the sun kind of purifies you as well. and you can I mean the moon and the earth are together, so you take the sun, you go out to the stars, or you might lay on the sun. Sometimes you do nothing, but you always want to come back to the earth and ground it. And I think you do that. I mean, if you're a gardener, you're always grounding the earth, because nothing would grow without the earth and the moon and the sun. It's like
They all work together.
together.
To just like
Mm,
in their magic way.
yeah,
There's times when you should plant different vegetables based on the moon
yeah,
and what the moon's doing, and you'll get a
yeah,
better harvest if you do it that way. It's just so many things that we've lost moving
yeah,
into cities and being so
yeah,
busy that
yeah.
I'm really trying to get back to even little things like I plant a lot of trees in my life,
I know you
and
do. Love that.
and I transplanted one tree in the summer from my son's house, and I discovered that planting a tree next to other saplings, like I
Yeah,
have this one mother tree that lives in it's actually technically my neighbor's yard, but
yeah.
Ray lets me have ownership of her too. But all her babies live in my yard, and I planted this tree in my yard next to one of the babies because there's the network under the ground where there's all the nutrients are being shuffled around, because
Yeah.
a mother tree will actually feed the babies. That's how
Wow. Yeah, I
they
didn't. I mean, I haven't really thought of that, but it kind of makes sense. And so but they gobble all the stuff in your garden as well, don't they? They gobble the nutrients out of your vegetable garden.
no, it's
No,
all very symbiotic.
symbiotic.
It's just like
Mm,
I mean, you can struggle with gardening, and I'm learning to live with the weeds. I have a lot of weeds that are just like they're plants that people think aren't that great. I'm just like, well, you can live in my yard,
yeah.
and I'll be happy. I have lettuce that grows in my grass. The tree though that I thought was dead that I
Mm,
transplanted, it because of where I put it, I think
mm.
it was bursting out little leaves. It was just like
Oh.
it was so amazing. It's doing so
Oh,
well now.
oh, that's amazing. I'm going to send you our maramataka because, and I was just going to see if I was clicking around to see if I could grab it to show you. Because if people want it, it won't be any different because it's just new moon to, I mean, obviously different seasons, and we're the opposite season to you. But I have this maramataka, and it basically does you can see the moon phase because our new year, our Māori year starts in winter on the new moon in June, basically new moon in June. So this calendar goes all the way through to the end of May, or the black moon in May. But you can actually see, like, it tells you with a very easy system: high energy, low energy, medium energy. And largely it's for growing food, because that was is very important, and for harvesting food. It's purple too, Jill, so I'll send it to you afterwards because I think you'll really like it. But it is
We'll put the
yeah,
link in the show notes for others.
I will. And yes, if it's because this is a PDF that somebody has created. I love it. I haven't got mine here, but I've got one with a little circle that you can turn, but that doesn't do every month. Somebody has sorted this out, so it gives you the entire year, and which I think is really cool for us, because as soon as personally, whenever I get really bogged down by something, I will stand on the beach, which is millions of tiny crystals. I will definitely take off my shoes. I walk around barefoot a lot. I'll go and put my, Earth Star chakras on the ground. I'll, I'll put my feet into leaves, wherever I can get my shoes off. I even did it in winter when it was freezing cold in Christchurch. It was like minus, not freezing cold for you. It was like -1. Walked around for 45 minutes on the beach. I obviously had lots of layers on top, but the bare feet the ground. There's so many tools that we have just to be kind of connected into this incredible gift of life that we have. Yeah.
Just taking advantage of all the energy that's out there and flowing around us. And instead of trying to like put up our little protectors so that we can't experience all of the energy, if you just let it down and let the energy flow through you and around you. And it's just like
Mm,
life is
mm,
yummy.
it is. It is. And I must connect you with Ariana, who I interviewed a couple. She's a New Zealand healer. She uses the wind. She stands in a field and uses the wind to come through her to do her clearing and her healing, which I never thought about that. I mean, I use the sun, I use the moon, I use the stars. Never thought about using the wind, but that's a really lovely practice.
Yes. Unless it's a really cold wind. We were talking about that walking this morning. It's like we have we have our parameters because it gets really cold here.
I know that. I know, like, we have no I mean, the coldest it gets here, it's up in the North Island anyway, it's about 10 degrees Celsius, which, minus, you get like minus some 10, 20. I can't even, we can't comprehend that.
It's it gets really cold.
Yeah.
It's minus
Which
in
is,
Fahrenheit and your Celsius starts at 0. So it's like
it,
we
I
start at
know.
32 for
Yeah.
freezing.
Yeah, that is. So that's why the spring shoots, because you're coming into this phase when, you've got a few more, 2 more months really of winter. And although it hasn't been such a cold winter, has it? It's been, no.
It's been cold, but it hasn't been real wet,
Mm,
which is,
mm,
the farmers don't like it when we don't get much snow, but it's
mm,
just been an interesting winter and they're all different. And I
mm,
just love welcoming whatever's coming because it's always a surprise. You never
mm,
know how it's gonna how it's gonna unfold. Like there was years we've had years when we've had feet of snow at this point in the winter. And
mm,
this year there's hardly any snow on the ground and it's just it's just so marvelous to be able to experience all of the differences in different places. They have
mm.
different experiences too, which is what makes traveling so fun.
Well, I have a pumpkin patch. I've got these amazing squash pumpkins, and
Mhm.
I haven't been able to grow them because we've had 2 really wet summers, horrible mildew. I couldn't. It was, for me, it was depressing because it was, like nothing grew except for, buttercup, and buttercup overtook my strawberry plants. But this year I've got a pumpkin patch, and I've got these amazing pumpkins are going to grow. So for me, that's a tohu, a sign of positivity. And
Do you eat your pumpkins?
oh yeah, I love pumpkin. Well, these are special pumpkins because they're actually an Italian squash, and
Mhm.
we have many sorts. But we have a vegetable called a camel, which is kind of like it's not a marrow or a zucchini, but it has a ridge, the ridge of ridges on the outside. So this is a bigger version of that, and I was given these seeds. I love to give seeds and
Oh,
to be
yes,
given
I do
seeds.
too.
You gave me some. I don't know what because I mean we have real biosecurity issues, and I had to put them in. Like I get in trouble. But I would love to send you some of these pumpkin seeds if I could. You'd love them. They're amazing.
Yeah, I would love that.
Are
I
you allowed seeds? Can I send? Does anyone else want them? Can you
I
send them
don't
to
really
me?
care. I to me, I'm like if they'll grow, I'll grow them.
Okay. Well, I'll
They're
send
not
you
going to
some.
become a wild species that takes over the hillside. And if they
Yeah.
do, it's just like more food for the cattle
Mm,
and
I
the
love
deer
that.
and the bears.
I love it. Yeah. Well,
I'm trying
thank
to
you.
respect your time, Carmel,
Thank
and
you
I
for
know that you've
hosting
got
me
stuff you've got
today.
to do here really soon. So I'm gonna wrap us up, but I want to chat again soon.
Yeah. Well, I would love, if people want, I will share this PDF maramataka. And if people want, they'll be out. I think the website's on it. It's not mine. It's just, but it's, yeah, it's a very cool little tool to help you, progress. Even just understanding why you might have more energy or less energy and why that's aligned with the moon is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can find Carmelle over on Instagram. She's the Super Manifest Star,
Stop.
STAR. I love that so much. And I'll put other links down there where you can reach out to her. She does have her own podcast too. So if
I
you're
do.
interested in having a chat with her, man, buckle
Mm.
up because it's going to be a fun ride.
I love to share messages of light, which is why I always enjoy the purple light, the purple and green light that you and I weave together. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who has listened. I just say, starseeds, claim your light.
For sure.
Mm,
All right, Carmel, thanks for joining me. Thank you for
thanks, Jill.
joining us for the U World Order Showcase podcast. Remember, if you would like to be featured on this podcast as a life, health, or transformational coach, please visit www.jointheuworldorder.com. We look forward to talking to you next time as we present another life, health, or transformational coach, being the change they seek.